Ray, I had technical difficulties. We're back on, or this is like part 2 or 3. Let's go with it. You were talking about Ray Hanania, famous journalist here in Chicago area. You were talking about compassion.
Yeah, I mean, just the technical difficulties of being a human being, okay? Because that's what it comes down to. Are we nice or are we selfish and mean? And during the storm, I was telling you how I would run into this attitude of meanness. You'd see the way from drivers, yelling and screaming at each other. There were more accidents, and I couldn't help believing that these accidents are the result of people that are angry, and they do stupid things in their anger. They don't think, they lose common sense. And I picked up this guy that was on the side of the road, and I was trying to decide, is he a serial killer? But he needs help. Should I trust him? Can I trust somebody to do that? And it was like, I'm thinking about it the whole time, but my window was open. And I was saying how, a lot of people are taught, don't look at their eyes. If there's a poor person on the side of the road or a homeless person or somebody asking for money, just don't make eye contact and you won't catch the virus. You want to give, or you can just ignore them and just go on with life. And if you ignore them, maybe your life won't be bothered by it. But it just seems so mean, to do that. There are people out there, and I look at homeless people on the side of the road, and I figured, okay, 60% of them probably have a lot of money, and this is a great way. This is their work. They get out there, that's how they earn their living. But 40% of them really are desperate. So is it okay? Shouldn't I just give them money on the chance that, okay, maybe the majority are bad people that are using this image of poverty and suffering to get me to give them money? Or maybe it's legitimate. I should err in the side of, being considerate to help people. So I'm making all these lists of things that I should do and not do as a good human being. That's a
But
column
did,
I'm
but
writing.
did you drop the guy off at his house or wherever he had to go? How did the story end? How did the story end?
I killed him and I wrapped him up in canvas and I dumped him.
Oh,
No,
of course you did. That's what you do.
no. What I did was I told him, look, I could give you a ride. I told him get in the
Yeah.
car.
Yeah.
I never pick up hitchhikers, but this guy so old and he's heavy. He was sweating. He smelled, and I don't mean I mean he
Yeah.
just
It's hot.
because
It's
he'd
hot
been.
outside. Yeah. It's hot.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's really hot,
Yeah.
and a lot of people wouldn't wanna put up with that, but I said, "This poor guy needs a break." And I gave him a ride, and we talked, and he talked about the challenges in his life, how the, weather destroyed his home in Alsip, and, he just seemed like a nice guy, and I wanted to do more for him, but I couldn't, because I was going to a meeting, but I did get him as far as almost, 20 blocks, to where he was going, more than 20 blocks, about almost 3 miles. And that really helped him out a lot. So I don't know what happened to him after that, whether anybody else picked him up. But he was trying to
Well,
get to
Ray, let
back
me
to his
ask you
house.
about compassion. Do you think people who are, quote, religious or spiritual, are they more compassionate?
I used to believe that, but I don't think today. I think people use religion as a reason to hate you. Religion says that, and they add racism and they add belief into it. I think that, people exploit these things. There's some people that are religious that are very kind. And there's some people that say they're religious, and we know through history, the Catholic Church was, one of the most brutal organizations in the world, going early on in our world history. So, if I saw a priest walking on the side of the road, I probably would give him a ride. But what are the odds? If you're a smart serial killer, you might want to dress up as a priest thinking, hey, this will be an easy way to get inside somebody's life. And we've been conditioned to fear people more than we trust people.
Mhm. No,
You know,
it's hard. It's hard because that My whole theory is about the few people, the few psychopaths or sociopaths, the few people, whether it's a classroom, I say it all the time, classroom in grammar school, high school, college, whatever. It's always in the neighborhood. It's always a few people that just disrupt things. That make it bad for everybody. Because once you get
Right.
robbed once, you don't trust everybody,
Right.
anybody,
That's true.
and that's just how the brain works. But so, how do we make our country, our town, our whatever county we live in, how do we make people more compassionate in this modern era?
Be patient. Don't rush. Rushing is a selfish act. Being patient is a broader act of community. When you're patient, you're working with everybody to get something done. When you're impatient, you're trying to cut in front of the line. I was taught as a kid, first thing you learn as a kid, besides thinking that you could survive a nuclear war by ducking under your desk or hiding in the hallway, is that, just take your time and things will work. Be patient. We've lost patience,
Are,
and
are
the
we taught?
anger.
Are we taught by our culture? It's like in my neighborhood. When I was a kid, everybody knew everybody pretty much, right? And those
Yeah,
things changed
I
because
don't know anybody in my neighborhood. I've been here
the va
45 years.
there you go, the values, because you don't know if that neighbor next door, down the street, up the street, whatever, you don't know
Right,
if they have the same values, and they may
right,
have the similar or same values, but the other family members in that home, that neighborhood, they don't have those values. So who
right.
can you trust when everybody they don't, share your values?
Listen, it's always good to be on the safe side. Okay. I always think that you got to judge the situation. You got to be smart. You just don't go up to strangers and allow strangers to come into your life, randomly. Occasionally, if somebody really needs help, you assess the circumstance. I was in a car on Harlem Avenue in traffic, and I was thinking that, okay, if this guy is a serial killer, he's overweight. If he kills me, what's he going to do? Run out of the car? People are going to see him. This would be a terrible way to kill somebody, or take somebody hostage. So I figured, I think the odds are okay to give this guy a ride. You got to overcome that tendency to look at everything in a negative way so you can make the right assessment.
And I think that it's hard. Some people, including me, don't want to go into scary neighborhoods or scary establishments. I got it. But, it's like here in Chicago, I always say that, and some people do this, try to travel different parts of the city. I was fortunate to, for many years ago, had a job that took me all over the metropolitan area, places I would never go to. And so I think some people, let's say you live in Naperville, Illinois, right? How
Right,
often do you come to the far south side or the far north side of Chicago unless you
right.
know somebody who lives there? And
Yeah,
vice versa. Like, there's probably people that live in metropolitan Chicago have never been to Warrenville, to Page County, Kane County, because they don't know anybody over there that's not an attraction. Of course, when I was coming up, I was like, well, that's the Puerto Rican neighborhood. That's the
right.
Mexican neighborhood.
Race is a
Should I go,
factor in,
should I go over there?
race is a factor in deciding who you trust and who you don't trust. Unfortunately, and that goes back in Chicago. I learned that from Chicago. My parents were not racist. My mother's from Bethlehem, and Jesus is my cousin. That's the joke. My dad's
Oh,
from
wait, wait.
Jerusalem,
Your mother's
from
from the Bethlehem.
the Bethlehem, the Church of the Nativity. Their family is part of the church, and my dad is from the city of peace, Jerusalem. So you don't come in here with this attitude where you hate people, but then you come to Chicago and you learn that people live separately. Why do they live separately? Because they don't trust each other. They feel above each other. The easiest way to pretend that you're better than that you're successful is by oppressing somebody. If I look at you and oppress you and say, "Oh, you're stupid" or "You're dumb," and I push you down, that artificially elevates me, even though I've never really elevated. I'm still at my same stupid level. So people do that because they can't elevate themselves. So what we have to do is help people elevate so they don't do that. So they don't turn against other people to artificially make themselves look better by making you look bad. Racism is about, I'm better than you, and you're bad. And I don't need to assess myself because I've assessed you. No, assess yourself. Are you a good person? So that's what I was saying in my column at courageousthought.com. I'm writing rules of life, rules of the road for life. How do we treat people? And I was working on that this morning. I'll probably post it later on today. Um, but I thought, did I ever sit down and write the things that, I do like in the wintertime, when the snow is like 8 inches to 10 inches, there's a lady across the street who's, her husband died. She's in her 70s. And I'm going, okay, I got this big snow plow that I bought for $600. I'm working, I'm doing really well. I plow my driveway. I'm going to push it across the street and plow her driveway. You don't have to do that. I don't want any money. It just made me feel good to help her out. And sometimes we got to do stuff like that.
Well,
Not, you don't have to do it all.
back in the day when I was growing up in my neighborhood, we sort of did, but we gotten away from it in some neighborhoods. Let me end this video podcast, Ray Hanania, by talking about a mosque. There's a mosque. Sometimes I go to the Orland Park or Orland Hills, whatever. Costco.
Right,
I drink the Costco Kool-Aid, get some gas.
right.
And it's way far from my house, but I see a mosque in the distance from
Yes,
this Costco. And I'm
yes.
always saying I'm
Well,
going to go over there, and I'm not going to go in the mosque. I'm not a religious person. I'm more of an architectural person. I want to see the outside of this golden dome and all this stuff I see in the distance from Costco.
right.
But my first fear is like, man, if I go over there, maybe some Muslim people out there, and I don't know, they may call the police. You know what I'm saying? So I'm
Listen,
scared to
there's a
go,
lot
even
of
go in front of the mosque. Now, I'm not going inside. You know what I'm saying? So
listen, there's a
these
lot of racism.
fears. But
There's
it's fear.
yes, of the unknown.
Yes.
There's fear, legitimate fear of violence and fear of the unknown, which is completely different. The Orland Park Prayer Center, you could go in there anytime you want, walk up there, and they'll welcome you. Now, I'm Christian, I'm not Muslim, but the majority of Muslim people are like the majority of Christian people. Most of us are good. All right. I mean, we got bad people. Everybody has bad people. Now, do we focus on the bad and ignore the good? When we like you, we focus on the good. When we don't like you, you're black. I'm not going to go in a black neighborhood. I focus on the bad. Do you know what I mean? That's how human nature is. We got to get away from doing that. We got to focus on the good and be smart, be attentive. Don't be stupid, but do the right thing. That mosque, that dome has been shot at with gunfire, bullets hitting the dome many times. They got little bullet holes from people that shoot at it. And across the street is the Christian cemetery where the image of the saint is turned facing the mosque. It looks like it's confrontational to me. It didn't seem too welcoming. But yeah, you got to you got to go with basic human nature. Of course, you're going to go. If it's a synagogue or a mosque, you can go up there and say, hey, I just want to learn a little bit about you. The best thing to do is you don't just walk in blind and go up and say, hey, I want to learn about the mosque. You take some time and you read a little bit about it. And then you go there and say, hey, I'm really interested. This is a beautiful place. 90% of the time, people are going to say, especially at this Orland Prayer Center, great people, they're going to say, yeah, come on in, we'll show you around. It's amazing how people who are victimized are more willing to feel that they have to make an extra effort to be welcoming, to overcome that attitude that's out there. And they do that.